Good morning, everybody. It's a Monday, May 11th, 2015. How's you all doing? The weather's nice, a little thundering action later on, maybe a couple of showers, but it's supposed to be a good week. Getting a little cooler by midweek. It's a dog with you with Weber this week on a Monday, May 11th, 2015. My good longtime friend Menzo Case, the president and CEO of the Generations Bank, is my special guest this morning. Without further ado, folks, hope you had a great weekend, and belated Happy Mom's Day to all the mothers out there that are checking us out this morning and that will check us out in the next few days. I posted on my Facebook page, I've always believed taking one day and celebrating mothers is ridiculous. Celebrate moms every day of the year. And I hope you had a good time, whether you went out to dinner, had a barbecue, whatever. And certainly it's great to toast all the moms out there. And without further ado, a guy that I've known for several years, he was nice enough to accept my invitation to join me on the show this morning. Menzo Case. Menzo, thanks for coming in.
Hey, good to see you, Doug. I appreciate the invitation.
It's great to have you here. Menzo, of course, the president and CEO of the Generations Bank. For the folks that may not know you, you certainly are well known throughout this area, certainly either via pictures in the paper or coming into the bank and doing business. Talk about yourself a little bit, about where you were born, where you went to school, and how you got into the banking business.
Well, I was born in Gloversville, New York.
Gloversville.
The leather capital world at one time. And grew up there in that area. I went to Fonda Fultonville Central School. Go Braves.
There you go.
Then went to the military and was in the Marine Corps for 4.5 years. And that was really quite an experience. Married my high school sweetheart, Sue, and we have 4 kids. Went to SUNY Albany, got my certificate there, or my BS, what is it? Bachelor of Science.
Right.
Went to work for KPMG, auditing firm. At that time it was Big 8. I think there are only 4 left in the big realm. Got my CPA, worked hard, and got into banking early, and got hired by my hometown bank in Gloversville, New York. Unfortunately, the bank was sold. Not something I had to do. You know, I didn't have a decision in that.
Right.
But during my time there, it was interesting. While I was a CPA with KPMG, I was given the opportunity to be a part of a group called the very long name, the Savings Forum for Audit and Control. And I met Bob Kernan at those meetings.
Okay.
And over the years, we went to meetings together, and I was known as one that would probably speak out a bit more than most. And as a result of that, Bob and I got to be good friends. And when he heard that our bank was selling, he asked me to come out and interview for a job with Seneca Falls Savings. I didn't really want to, but we determined to come out, my wife and I, and we drove out to the area. She went and interviewed all the schools and drove around the area. I interviewed with the bank board, and in the end, she convinced me to come. I really enjoyed the interview and all that, but she really was the one that made the decision to move to this area. She absolutely fell in love with it, and we've been here 16 years.
Wow, it's amazing. No secret, the Generations Bank is expanding with various branches that you've added on. Seems like there's not a year goes by that something else is being decided and planned on. Your latest deal had been the Farmington location.
Right.
And from what I understand, I've not personally been there, but I understand it's quite a unique bank in regards to the fact that it's the most technologically sound 21st century look. You don't have a lot of people that you're dealing with, but you can deal with live bodies. Give us an explanation of what that bank's all about, that branch.
Well, over the years, we've watched technology take hold of the banking industry, and banks are usually somewhat slow to respond. I know it's because of the cost, but our board determined that this was a really good idea to build an office without the traditional look and feel of a bank. So there's no teller line.
Okay.
At first, we advertised that way, and it really didn't resonate because the folks there, I suppose, didn't understand that they could go in and see a person. But the idea is there's a lot of transactions today in banking that can be done through a mobile app.
Sure.
Through internet banking, and we decided to bring that into the office. So we just have intelligent machines. They're interactive teller machines, And as an individual wants to deposit money, make a loan payment, whatever it may be, they can do that on the machine while interacting with a live person.
Wow.
It's in Phelps, the person. Our folks are there. And you can speak to them and do the transaction and get through that. Then, frankly, if you want to sit down and have coffee and just relax and talk to somebody about insurance, brokerage, whatever it may be,
Right.
there's a person there. And in the event that, let's say you want to talk about insurance, the insurance person is not there. There's an office that's set up. You can talk to a person live at one of our other offices and talk about the insurance. This way, your schedule is our schedule.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. Just making the everything accessible 24/7 if possible, and where it's not, the live interaction, we do that during banking hours. We're there, and if we're not there, you can still talk to us. We're somewhere, and it's live, and it's catching hold, and that's where the industry's going. That's where everything's going.
Now, having known you for several years, you sound like being an ex-Marine, and I wish I could say I was one, but I tried to get in the Air Force, and because of my bad right eye, 2 weeks before basic training, I was given that famous note, no, we're not going to take you with a bad right eye. But it sounds to me, having known you, I think you're more detailed than people give you credit for. As far as, do you make a little surprise visits to the various branches without announcing that you're coming to just see how things are going? Are you that kind of a leader, or do you just kind of let the managers take care of all that?
No, if there's one thing I've learned, you as the president of an organization, you really got to be accessible.
Right.
My office is an open door policy. You do have to get on the calendar.
Right.
It's a terrible calendar, but we do. Yes, I have no issue and have just driven out to offices, pop in.
There you go.
Say hello to the folks.
Sure.
One of the things I'm noted for, unfortunately, is I can't remember a name to save my life. So it's kind of a joke in our office, but I'm trying to overcome that and get to see these folks. I'll tell you, the difference between us and anybody else, I think, is we really care about people. It's interesting. I just got a note just this past week from a person that works in a local business right here in downtown Seneca Falls, and they have a difficulty, and they were telling one of our staff about it, and they said, well, why don't you meet? It's a budgeting issue. Why don't you meet with our president? And they're taken aback and said, would he actually meet with me? He doesn't even know me.
Yeah, no problem.
And of course, yes. That's the difference. And we do this as a regular course of business. I'm involved with Habitat for Humanity, as you know.
Well,
and we work with families, and we don't give them anything in Habitat, and we certainly don't at the bank. They earn it.
Exactly.
And Habitat's a little different. You build a house, they pay back the loan. It's a 0% loan, but they build their own home. In the banking industry, what I've done, I've established with our group a little program that if you're having difficulty, it's a credit rescue program. And I'll use another example. In Seneca Falls, or actually it's Waterloo, this young lady was taken in by a scam, and her father brought her to my office, and we sat down, and she was in pretty bad shape. She needed a car, so we worked through it, and we were able to make the loan, but we charge them a little bit more interest.
Right.
And then we take some of that interest and we put it in a savings account for her.
Okay.
And at the end of her loan, that money, which is half the interest, she'll get back in cash.
Wow.
And we've done this quite a few times.
Great.
And off of that, we spawned the Affordable Transportation Program, which I'm really proud of that. New York State used to have a program, what was it called? Wheels for Work. And in that program, a bank would make a loan to a person, and the New York State would guarantee the loan. And they needed the loan in order to get a car to get to work. For whatever reason, they defunded it. We've re-implemented it in Seneca County, and we've done quite a few loans with individuals that would otherwise be denied. We've taken the interest, we set it up in an account, and in time, that interest will fund the program long-term, hopefully forever.
Wow.
So we're starting to build that, and it's starting to get some feet and legs to her. And it's a great thing. It really is. And frankly, it's helping the folks that need it the most.
Menzo Case, my special guest this morning, the president and CEO of the Generations Bank. Menzo, before we take a commercial break, a few comments about the outstanding program, Habitat for Humanity. I know that you and many others, my buddy Lou Ferrara and company, have been working their tails off year after year after year. Give us an update this year. You got to be very proud of the program, and I believe you were targeting 5 houses this year. Give us an update.
Well, we've got 5 units. We've got one in Waterloo. Here in Seneca Falls, we have a 2-family home. We've got a brand new build in Chestnut, and we're finishing up White Street. So those are the 5 units that we're working on. White Street will be done hopefully in the next week or 2. Wycliffe is done. We've got that family is about to move in. And Chestnut just got the hole dug. And then Miller Street is the last, and that one is in rough shape. It's the county sold it to us, and frankly, it's in dire straits, and we're going to work to rehab that, put 2 families in there as they wait for homes to be built for them. So it's a little different program. Right. Actually, Habitat doesn't have it. We made it up.
As far as people that are eligible for the program, do they fill out an application to be considered, or do you and the board choose who that may be next in line?
Right. Well, we're a fair housing lender.
Okay.
So we abide by the rules that the regulations have established in that respect. So an individual needs to complete an application, which is available online, or any Generations Bank has an application. It's filled out. It's given to Habitat. Habitat then evaluates the loan. If you meet the income standard, the standard to put in sweat equity, which is very important, 250 hours per adult. And also, there's some credit consideration, but not as anywhere near as stringent as a bank normally would give. It's through Habitat, after all. If you meet those criteria, we approve the loan, or we approve the family, and then right now we have a waiting list, which is fantastic.
I was going to say, yeah, you must.
Yeah, we've got, I think we've got 3 families in the wings right now. And we're just hoping to keep up with the pace. There's a great need. There's a great need for reasonable housing.
Well, Menzo's going to talk about what his bank and what he does for It's a Wonderful Life. I know he's involved in a zillion different issues and things that make everybody feel warm and cuddly around the area. I know he puts a big tent in front of the bank here in Seneca Falls for the Wonderful Life. We'll talk about those areas. We'll talk about, could 2008 ever repeat itself, that traumatic issues that we went through, the banking and the Wall Street issues? Get his opinion on that. This is Weber This Week, my special guest this morning. Menzo Case will be back after this. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora. A fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquors, Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her great team will find that right spirit for you every time. Tell Amy the dog sent you. Cicino's. Live, laugh, eat well. It's the Italian way. It's also the Cicino's way. Place your order today at Cicinos.com. Locations, Main Street, Waterloo, and 401 Exchange Street in Geneva. Steve Wadhams, Wadhams Enterprises, your employer of choice. Proud supporter of this show and local athletics. Bob and Leslie Oman, owners of the Oman Theater, in Lions as well as the Newark Pilots, a minor league baseball team with a major league ballpark. SenecaFallsCountryClub.com, awesome 18-hole layout, offering a 12-month payment plan. Home of the toughest par 4 in central New York. Wilson Press, WPress.com. Seneca Falls, Rich Rickey, my good friend, and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Rich Rickey, Wilson Press, a fine sponsor of Weber This Week. And we're back. It's the dog with you on a Monday morning. It's going to be a nice warm one. By the way, speaking of sponsors, I want to bring in on our newest sponsor, just joined us a week ago, Sal Franzone and his great team up at Cicino's, one of our favorite spots. My wife Mary and myself, both locations, and obviously the one in Main Street in Waterloo, and of course up on Exchange Street in Geneva, Sal Franzone. Eat, laugh, enjoy, eat the Italian way, eat the Cicino's way. Phenomenal food up there. They had a great team. Sal's a great guy, and I want to thank him for joining the Weber Show, being a sponsor just starting last week as a great sponsor of our show. It's always good to have new sponsors, by the way. So if you're interested in coming on this show, We're not overly expensive to come on the program. After all, I am the dog, remember. Just let us know through Jim Seneca or myself. We'll be booking you in as the sponsor of this show that we hope will continue for several years to come. Back to Menzo Case, my good friend, and the president and CEO of good old Generations Bank. Menzo, 2008 was a year that you, of course, being in the banking industry, certainly remember quite vivid. Many people remember it. We had major collapses in the banking industry. We had problems on Wall Street. We had all kinds of issues. It was really a travesty that what took place. As the president and CEO of a very good-sized bank, your opinion, do you think that the Fed and the Congress and all the people involved in the banking industry that oversee you and others, do you think they've put enough best practices in place that will never happen again in our lifetimes? Are you confident, or that's not going to?
No,
it's not confident. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Some of these institutions are just unwieldy. No one knows what's going on in these organizations.
Okay.
However, what we learned some lessons, but it's not the community banks, the small banks that really had to change anything.
Okay.
The bad thing about this is the regulations that are being made are being applied to us on the same footing as a $1 trillion bank.
Okay.
I suppose you can imagine how expensive that is.
Oh, I can imagine, right.
In August, there's a brand new disclosure that was put together by the CFPB, and it's not changing a thing. These organizations are uncontrolled, and it's unfortunate. They're in businesses that they ought not to be in. I don't think that there's a need for these large banks to be involved in mortgages at all. Community banks, and I'm talking well under $10 billion,
wow,
well under $5 billion. We can handle mortgages.
Right.
The worst thing that can happen is that the residential mortgage market will be taken over by the government, which I believe is the trend, as they did with student loans. And now you know where the next bubble is.
Right.
Student loans. Why? Because our government's involved. And the government pans it off to these large banks. And these large banks they don't care. They just don't care. There's great people that work at large institutions, and it's not them.
Right.
It's these individuals that are well above all of our pay grades. And they're just getting into things that don't make sense. I'm very scared for our country because where are we going to go?
Right.
Interest rates are still at near zero. The Fed said in June they're going to raise rates some time ago. Just this past meeting, they came out and they said, we can't raise rates. Now we're going to push it off. The truth is they can't raise rates. How can they control inflation? That's one of the primary means by which inflation is controlled. So what are they going to do about this situation? And I don't understand it. This money that's being printed is insane. Other governments are doing it now. We're the nation that leads the world in this.
It's amazing.
And now they're taking our playbook and they're using it. And this goes back to Bernanke's study that he did. It's published online. You can look it up. He has 10 or 12 steps that need to be taken in a situation like this. One of the only step left is to devalue the currency.
Really?
President Roosevelt did this in the 30s, and it looks like we may have to do it again. Devalue the currency. Unbelievable. But small towns like ours, in the end, we're here. We're established for our communities, and many banks like us. I don't want to say that we're the only one. There are several in this region. And if we put our business there, you won't be disappointed. We don't get into these crazy things. How do you do a mortgage? One at a time.
Right.
And you know your customer.
Exactly. Menzo Case, my special guest, speaking of the government, I agree with you on that. Now we're going to have a presidential election, which has become fast and furious even now, 16, 18 months out. And it's just mind-boggling that some of our candidates running for president have $1 billion trust. $1 billion. Oh, my God. I was thinking, one thing that's always bugged me, and I try to follow the news as closely as possible, is the tax code, is the fact that they have been talking for years to go in and look at that and make changes, remove some of this stuff, add some other things to make it more reasonable and fair, I guess, across the board, if that's the right term. And they just keep putting it off and putting it off and just putting it off. It's just amazing, you know?
It's a comedy, isn't it?
It is. It's a comedy of
sad
errors.
comedy.
You would think they would look at that and determine there's a lot of exceptions, exemptions, and so forth that need to be removed. And everybody agrees with that, but I guess Congress is under a lot of pressure not to do anything.
Well, the lobbyists control our nation.
It's amazing.
It's a sad state of affairs. Frankly, I don't know the answers. A flat tax, sure.
Sure.
But then we get down to the definition of income.
Right. Exactly.
What is it?
Yeah.
And we made it overly complex.
Yep.
And in the end, there are individuals that are not paying their tax.
Exactly.
And then on the other side, the taxes that are being paid are being given away and squandered. And instead of requiring families, individuals, to earn a living and to work for what they receive,
Exactly.
we're allowing this system to be abused. I got to go back to a Habitat for Humanity.
There you go.
A beautiful model where individuals have an interest and a stake in what they're receiving, and they pay back every dollar, and then that money is recycled right back into the program. We're one of the few habitats there. We have no executive director. We have hardly any overhead. That's a great model if you could do it. But even there, almost all the money in all the habitats goes right back into homes. And the families are required to work for it. Why we don't have this nationally? Why we have all these programs that HUD, great program, totally abused. They ought to be working for those dollars.
Right.
And families need homes.
Exactly.
And the war on poverty started supposedly with President Johnson. Well, we've lost that war because we have the government doing it. I once spoke about a situation in Texas brought up, I think it was by one of the Roosevelts, not Franklin, Teddy Roosevelt. If we allow individuals to take care of their communities, we do a better job than our governments.
Oh, absolutely.
And now we're starting to take that type of camaraderie, that type of community, we're taking it and we're centralizing it in a federal government, in a state government, that are so corrupt. If we could get back to that, where communities take care of communities, we do a better job, and it's fairer, and we expect something back from those being helped. That's all.
And it's sad. Menzo Case, my guest this morning, it's sad. Speaking of New York and the issues that we have with government, it certainly, I don't know, brings tears to me and thoughts that where are we going with this? Our elected officials in Albany, I mean, here you have a situation with Shally Silver being charged with numerous counts of bribery and taking this and taking that. And then other people are getting, arrested or
Dean
charged.
Skelos.
Now we have Dean Skelos, the Republican leader.
Yeah.
He's and his son allegedly, I use that term because it's not, we have no trial yet. We have no verdict of his peers. It's just mind-boggling. You look at both leaders of the Assembly and the House, Senate, and the Assembly. You wonder, my God, what's going on? It just never ends in Albany, and that's a stone's throw, 3.5 hour drive from here.
Right.
And there are elected officials supposed to lead us down the right path. And do they have their hands in the cookie jar? I'm not about to say that because they haven't had trials yet. But you know what? I believe we ought to have a trial and let the peers convict or find them innocent. But it makes you scaredy.
Right.
This is never ending there,
Well,
Never ending.
I believe in term limits for everybody.
I totally agree with that. Oh, my
and
God.
I think that would help to eliminate some of the corruption.
Totally agree with that.
And I say that despite knowing that there's some, I think it's Senator Farley.
Yeah.
He was my law professor, and he still remembers me to this day.
Wow.
And he's just a great supporter of upstate New York.
Right.
And he's been I don't know how long he's been in the Senate. But in the end, I still believe term limits are the right thing. Senator Nozzolio,
I
right
agree.
here.
Been there forever.
Great supporter.
Yeah.
Love the guy. Does a
Right.
great job.
But-
However, in the end, I think term limits are the way to go. And as a voter, I would vote for that every time.
I agree.
And on a national scene, same thing. And I think that would help. Our founding fathers just gave up the seats.
Amazing.
I mean, President Washington, what an amazing man. To walk away from being the first president of the United States when they wanted to make him king.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we don't understand the superstar status that he had.
know.
It was superstar status.
Right.
He walked away, and he quietly retired.
Yep.
Several of our presidents have done this.
Right.
And frankly, that's what we need. We need to have the rest of these folks buck up and get out and leave the scene.
I like 3 terms.
Yeah,
I throw a number out there. I like 3. Give 3 terms, and then adios amigo. Bring a new body,
Bring
new
somebody
blood,
new in.
new outlook.
and no pensions.
No. Oh my
None.
God, the perks
No
are just
pensions.
The perks are unbelievable.
None.
I mean, they got the stipends for travel and all this stuff.
It's not a job.
Oh,
It's not a career.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Just pretty amazing. And I like Mike Nizzola, and I would tell Mike the same thing. And if Mike's checking us out this morning, hey, Mike, I love you. But, hey, we got to have new blood in there. And it's interesting as you ponder where our state's going to go down the road, where our country's going to go. I think Menzo's hit it right on the head. My granddaughter's going to be 17 May 31st, and I worry about her with this national debt. Trillions and trillions and trillions. I can't up, and he's a banker, and I can't add up with a calculator. Where's this going to leave to our kids, the little kids, Jimmy's daughter? What's it going to be like when she gets up? Is there going to be Social Security? Are you kidding me? Thank God I got out when I'm old dog, but, you think about Social Security.
Yeah, I don't count.
A program that was expected to be there for everybody. If you put in, you're going to get it when you get to be 62. I'm not so sure these kids at 15 and 16 is going to be anything left in the till.
Well, just think about how ridiculous Social Security is. 15% of your pay goes in an account.
Right.
And at the end, what percent of your final pay are you getting through Social Security?
Don't know.
You give 15% to a good financial planner,
Right.
good broker, and over 40 years,
Right.
you're going to retire
Ka-ching.
huge.
Yeah.
And we can't do that because it's a government program. Now, I
wow.
understand the need for Social Security, a net, but not for individuals, not anymore. For those that need it.
Right.
Again, this definition of need is tough. It's tough because I know individuals that are totally handicapped.
Sure.
Can't do anything. What are we going to do with them?
Right.
Well, you can't let them just die.
Right.
We got to support them.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. But they've abused the Social Security so much so that the working class, these folks are working. Why is there a limit? Where you make more, you pay less. Why is there a limit?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. The good news is, if we teach our kids to budget, to live within their means, and the other thing I hope my kids have got this.
Right.
Do you need to be a millionaire?
Right.
Can you just sit back? Can you make a living in your hometown?
There you go.
Be creative.
Right.
I think a lot of answers can be found right here in our community. Isn't it great when you see a young person go to college and come back, or not go to college? Maybe they get a certificate. I know ITT Goals has a program. They're working with a local college for certificate, 2-year certificate programs through the Workforce Investment Board. They get a certificate, they're in. They go into the shop, they work.
Right.
You have a great career.
Right.
You have people that you're working with, and yet you live in a town like this. What's so bad about that?
It's not bad at all.
What could you want?
There's so many beautiful homes in this area.
Oh, yeah.
And there's beautiful. I'm sitting on the deck at Wolfie's or looking out at Deer Head, looking at the lake, thinking, where am I going to go to vacation? I'm looking. Why am I looking? We are in the vacation spot of the world.
I agree.
It's gorgeous.
I agree.
Just think, you can live here, wake up every morning, and you're like in vacation land.
No, you're right.
It's a great place. And that's what I'm trying to get across to kids as I talk to them in schools.
I agree.
It's the way to be.
And by the way, speaking of Social Security, it's kind of scary. You have direct deposit, Social Security. If you're in the banking business and you sign up for that, it goes to your checking account. And it is kind of scary when, mine comes in the end of the month and I look at it and I think, geez, that's okay. I'll use that for this. And all of a sudden you think about it, Donald Trump's getting that put in his account too.
And he's fighting to have it.
That's kind of scary.
Why are they getting it?
The Harold Webbers of the world may need it or may use it. Donald Trump's a billionaire. What does he need that money for? But all seriousness, I guess everybody's supposed to be treated fair in this country. Listen, before we wrap up, we're running past our 10 o'clock hour.
Hey,
but
Doug, real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's not just lip service from Menzo.
No.
Generations Bank has helped. FingerLakes1.com.
Phenomenal.
They've helped us down at the Seneca Falls Country Club in a major way.
Exactly.
My mortgage is with Generations Bank. And Menzo, I mean, I think one of the luckiest things to happen to my hometown was when you and your wife decided to settle here. Because you Generations Bank has such a major impact on the lives of individuals, the supporters of nonprofits.
Exactly.
And everything from Seneca Falls Little League to our live webcasts. I mean, they're so deeply entrenched in our community, and so that's why I don't understand why people would look elsewhere. At least give them a shot.
I agree.
Before you go to online with one of the national banks.
Well, I think one thing that's always struck me is there's not a day that goes by that I don't read a publication that your bank is not involved in helping somebody out. A Little League team, covering our basketball games here in Finger Lakes 1, over in Wonderful Life. We haven't had time to talk about that. I love the tent in front of the bank every year. I love what you guys are doing and all of your committees. You go really out of your way, beyond the call of duty, and supporting so many causes. And I know you have a lot of people knocking on your door looking for a donation. I get that. Right. I used to work at Gould's. I knew all about that. Right. And you have to choose certain ones because you can't give, I guess, to everybody because, there's got to be a limit to what you can give out. But I really got to give you credit as we wrap up the show. You and the board and the people involved in your organization are really connected to the people that are in need and that you want to support, and I think it's just going to continue. And under your leadership, thanks for taking time out to come in and talk to us.
It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate those kind words.
Well, I'd like to have you come back and maybe the end of the year have an update on stuff.
I'd love to do that.
We could talk about what's happening in the world of Congress. Menzo Case, my special guest. The dog won't be here next week, and we're off the following week because it's Memorial Day. Jimmy may have a guest for you next week on the show. I'll catch you June 1st. Interesting individual coming in on June 1. Dr. Kingsley Kabari came out of Africa, ravaged, torn, violence galore, all kinds of deaths involved in his area where he was living in Africa, came to America, got a bunch of degrees, and he's a doctor of chiropractic. He's an interesting individual. I've not met him yet. I've gone back and forth to preface him on the show. He'll be here on the couch on June 1st. That's a Monday, so we hope that you'll check out. Very interesting story, getting out of Africa, coming to America, and the rest is really amazing. So check it out. Hey, you have a great week, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the nice weather. Going to be a little cool by midweek, but hey, it's not bad. I remember last winter, don't you? For Menzo Case and Jim Sendercoby, this is the dog. Thanks for joining Weber this week. Take care. Whew.
By becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
FingerLakes1.com